Hello, and welcome to our program, Astronomy for Everyone. Our guest for this month's show is Jesse Mason, professor at Henry Ford College here in suburban Detroit. Jesse, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Don. Glad to be here.
Now, why don't we start off and have you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I am currently a physics and astronomy instructor for Henry Ford College. I also direct the planetarium here, and as of approximately a year ago, I am supervising some black hole research going on with students at the college.
Interesting. Black holes are a fascinating topic for many people. Now, you mentioned the Hammond Planetarium. Tell us about that.
Sure. The Hammond Planetarium has been at the college for decades. I think it was renovated about 2 decades ago. And when I got to the college as a full-time instructor, I've actually been with the college since 2008. I cut my teeth as an instructor here at the college right out of grad school, teaching a conceptual course. And I've been off and on teaching part-time for the college since 2008. But 3 years ago, I was hired full-time to be an instructor. And when I got here, the Hammond Planetarium hadn't been used because of COVID, and we were reopening it. And the person that was sort of caretaking the planetarium said, "You know, you've got a lot of experience with your astronomy club and teaching astronomy. I launched the Farmington Community Stargazers back in 2016, which is an astronomy club for doing outreach in the community in the Farmington area. It's currently being run by Schoolcraft College's geology professor and one of my best friends, Samer Hariri. He actually helped me launch the club. Um, but Steve Morrell he'd even come to some of our star parties. Him and his brother, they did live music for our 50th anniversary lunar landing party at Heritage Park. They did. It was. I'm going off topic here, but it was one of my favorite moments in science in my life. We held a star party at the park, and I did a talk on the trip to the moon and back, and how the Saturn V worked. And Samer launched a Saturn V model rocket for the audience, the attendees. And Steve and his brother came, and they provided live music, live electronic ambient space music, and they mixed in sounds from the Apollo 11 mission. It was it was amazing. So Steve knew me pretty well, and he said, "I think you'd be a perfect fit to be running the planetarium." And so when I got here, I accepted the directorship, and my first order of business was reopening the planetarium to the public after COVID. And since then, we've been doing monthly shows. And I actually spoke with Tim Campbell and Liam Finn last night, who are our main presenters at the planetarium, and they said they would be comfortable with expanding it to 2 shows a month now. So we're going to be doing, I think we're going to try doing double features. So in a single night, we'll do 2 different shows. So people can come to one or both of them if they'd like. And that'll be starting either in December or January.
Yeah, I
And it's
know
a
that a
38
couple
seat
of our
planetarium. What's that?
uh, members have, been presenters in the Hammond Planetarium for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a long history with the Ford Amateur Astronomy Club.
Well, I understand too. You've got something called funzies. Can you fill us in on that?
Funzies? Funzies is just it's actually something I picked up from a mentor of mine. And I think I actually sent you a picture of a couple of my mentors. Uh,
Oh yeah,
when
we'll get to
I
that a little bit later in the show. Yeah.
yeah, when I started working at Oakland Community College as the physics lab tech, I was there for about 15 years. Uh, I I just happened into a beautiful place to practice pedagogy. My first physics mentor, Joe Laurie, who wasn't in that picture, he didn't come to breakfast that morning, but he was my mentor at Eastern when I was doing my undergrad and grad school there. And he was working at Oakland Community College when a position opened up for the lab tech, and he suggested that I go for it. And I spent the next 15 years part-time teaching while I was a full-time lab tech, and I got to work under Joe Laurie and one of the gentlemen in those pictures, Dave Stoddard, and one of the professor emeritus at Oakland Community College, who I kept in touch with. He wrote books, and I helped him with shooting videos. In fact, he inspired my YouTube channel. His name is Art Wiggins. And Art Wiggins, Joe Laurie, Dave Stoddard, those were my mentors at Oakland Community College, and I learned so much from them. And one of the things I learned from Dave was the importance of having fun when you're teaching. And if you're having fun, the students usually have fun too. So I do a lot of things just for funsies, like send you a picture just for funsies of my mentors. And I think I might have even sent you a picture just for funsies of meeting the mascot of the Detroit Lions a few weeks ago.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll have to check that out, of course. Now, next, I have to ask you, the Dead Stars Society?
Mm. Okay, another just for funsies. So a year ago, Dr. Kristen Dage, who was a student at Oakland Community College while I was working there, she reached out to me because we kept in touch after she graduated and went on to get her PhD in astrophysics. She asked me, do I know any students that would be interested in doing astrophysics research? And I knew one student that wanted to be an astrophysicist, and so I reached out to him and said, I have a connection. Would you be interested in starting some research here? And that was almost a year ago to the day. It was November 7th, 2022. And since then, we have hired, let's see, in winter 2023, we hired two more students. And in the fall, this fall, we hired two more. So we have five students now. We might have seven come January that are doing astrophysics research on black holes. Specifically, uh, the Dead Star Society, which I'm calling our little research group, the Dead Star Society is looking at or looking for intermediate mass black holes, which are the elusive unicorn of black holes.
Interesting. I know we had Ed Cackett from Wayne State on the program last year, I think it was, talking about black holes, and it's always a big subject, especially with kids. So always good to talk about that.
Actually, Ed Cackett and Will Clarkson will play a very large role in the Dead Star Society come fall 2024, when we will be forming a collaboration between Wayne State University and University of Michigan Dearborn, where our students will be working with their students doing research together.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to have you back on to fill us in about that interesting project. Now, before we get to the break, I do have to ask you about the Henry Ford College Sound and Light.
So Henry, okay, so this is a course that I'm currently teaching at Henry Ford College. It is a course near and dear to my heart because when I was an undergraduate student at Eastern, I had to take a science course to fulfill the requirements of my degree as a music student. And I took a physics course with Joe Laurie, one of my mentors. And it was that course, it wasn't called Sound and Light, it was called Music and the Arts, but it's essentially the same course. It was that course that captured me in the field of physics. I was completely captivated by, in specific, resonance and standing waves on strings and standing wave on plates and membranes and um, all those musical things. The physics of the music really captured my attention, and I became a physics student shortly after, and then a physics graduate student, and now I'm teaching the course. And the course actually has. I was just preparing for their exam right before this interview. They have an exam in the next hour. They'll be seeing standing waves on a spring for their exam. And they will also be using the electric guitars that they built. I think I might have sent you a picture of one of them. The electric guitars that they built for the course as part of their exam. They're going to plug it in and analyze the waveform and the harmonic series content of their electric guitar sounds.
I love the STEAM theme here between the science of astrophysics and music. They really are quite related. Well, we're going to
I
take
agree.
a quick break right here. Um, if you have a question for those of you out there in YouTube land, send us an email, You can see the address down there at the bottom of your screen. And we'll be right back after Term of the Month with Stephen.
Thanks, Don. The term of the month is Radcliffe Wave. For 150 years, astronomers have noted that nearby stellar nursery gas clouds seem to form a ring. Now, with the aid of 3D models and mapping data from the Gaia spacecraft, accurate distances and motion have been determined for the structure. It's about 8,800 light-years long and forms a wavy filament inside the Orion Arm, which is the local arm of the Milky Way. The structure spans 40% of the Orion Arm's length and 20% of its width. The paper's lead author, Ralph Konietzka, explains, by using the motion of baby stars born in the gaseous clouds along the Radcliffe Wave, we can trace the motion of their natal gas to show that the Radcliffe Wave is actually waving. The structure is closest to us at 400 light-years and farthest at 5,000 light-years. It is named after the Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study, which is also called the Harvard Radcliffe Institute. And that is the term of the month. Back to you, Don.
Thanks, Stephen. We're back with our guest, Jesse Mason. Now, Jesse, I understand that you're involved with a community outreach astronomy program called the Farmington Community Stargazers. Can you tell our viewers about that?
So the Farmington Community Stargazers continues to be a passion project of ours. Since I started running the planetarium for Henry Ford College, I passed the directorship on to Sammer, so he's in charge of it now. But we still do monthly star parties. We'll be doing them all through the summer and into the fall. And if there's any interest, you can find us online at fcstargazers.org or just Google Farmington Community Stargazers. And come look through telescopes with us.
Sounds like a great opportunity for people interested in astronomy. If you live in the southeast Michigan area and are viewing this, check that out online. And I've been out there myself a time or two. I think we were out there, as I recall, one time when I worked at the Michigan Science Center. We were part of an evening program doing outreach, and it's quite an exciting event, and I can say very, very well attended. So yeah, highly recommended for sure. Now, I also understand that you're involved with research with your students. Can you tell us about that?
We're working in collaboration with Dr. Kristen Dage, who is a NASA Einstein Fellow. She's currently at Wayne State University, and we're researching black holes, looking for the ever-elusive intermediate mass black hole.
Interesting, interesting. Now, you're doing this with community college students. Typically, this type of research is usually done by seniors or maybe even those in graduate school.
Yeah, the type of research we're doing is really high level. Some of my students have only had one semester of a science class or two, and we are able to make this research accessible to them we've set up a system whereby students are training students, and I'm sort of supervising this process. And when we get stuck on things, thank you, Zainab. One of my students here is, while researching black holes, making me a cup of tea because I'm dehydrated. The system where we have set up is working really well. It's working actually way better than any of us could have dreamed. Kristen has told me that the research that we're doing on her behalf is saving her an amazing amount of time. She told us last semester that in 4 months we were able to help her do the research that would have taken her 10 months to do.
Oh my, that's quite a time savings.
Cutting it in half, more than in half. And that was when we had 3 students, and now we're up to 8. So we're kind of becoming a well-oiled research machine.
Sounds like.
And it's going extraordinarily well, particularly in the area of grants. We received in November a grant to work with the LST. The LSST is the Legacy Survey of Space and Time Telescope, which is going to be opened in 2025 at the Rubin Observatory in Chile. And this telescope is an optical telescope. It's essentially just a giant camera. And when I say giant, I mean it is going to, when it opens, it's going to be the world's biggest camera. And it's going to be scanning and taking pictures of the entire night sky. Every 3 days, it's going to take a complete picture of everything you can see from Chile, and then start over and take another complete picture. And it's going to continue to keep posting all of this information online. And the grant that we got with the LSST is to learn how to access and use that data. And that grant has already started paying for the workshops that are teaching us the Python programming skills in order to do so. So we're training to work on this incredibly expensive camera telescope. And actually, as of last week, we found out we got an augmentation grant of $5,000 from the Michigan Space Grant Consortium in order to further our research ties with Wayne State University, who are going to become increasingly involved in this research with us over the summer of 2024.
This sounds like a feather in the cap, not only for your students at Henry Ford College, but also at Wayne State University as well. And I would imagine as your students move through their education, some will graduate out and you'll bring in new ones.
Yes. I don't know exactly how much the project can grow in terms of number. I have a small room outside of my office, and we're sort of limited by our space right now. But the collaboration with Wayne State University is heating up. And next door at the University of Michigan Dearborn campus, we are going to start involving students there as well. So our ties with local universities is going to strengthen, and we're going to continue doing research on behalf of their professors and starting to build a network of colleges that are able to afford the opportunity of doing research to freshmen and sophomore community college students.
That's amazing. I think back to my community college days, and about all we were able to do back then is read books and look through a couple of the refracting telescopes that the school had available to us.
That's the typical experience of an astronomy college student. I don't know that I even had access to research opportunities when I went through Eastern Michigan University's physics program, not until you get into your upper levels. So it is highly unusual, but this is exactly what Dr. Dage wanted to afford to the community college students. She herself went through community college, and she believes strongly in making those opportunities available to students, and so do I. So we're very lucky to be able to have this kind of collaboration and to spin up this research project for students at Henry Ford College.
This sounds great, Jesse. I'm glad you were able to come on the show to to tell our viewers about this program and the other things that we've talked about. And so we do want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk with us.
The pleasure was all mine.
Oh, you're welcome. For our viewers, please check our website. The address, as always, is down at the bottom of your screen. And to finish off the show today, we have Stephen with What's Up in the Night Sky.
Thanks, Don. What's up in the night sky for April 2024? So the day lengths slow in change as we head toward the oncoming solstice. That would be the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere and the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. So they're getting longer in the north and shorter in the south. The month starts with a third quarter moon on April 1st, April Fools, I guess. New moon on the 8th, first quarter on the 15th, and full moon on the 23rd. Shown here on the 1st of April, we have Mercury. Mercury is in Pisces and sets about a half an hour before sunset, and to rising a half an hour before sunrise at the end of the month. Now, it would be better at the end of the month, except for two things. Mainly, the main thing is that at the end of the month, it's rising in the morning. And looking at Mercury in optics, even small binoculars, when the sun is about to rise is not my favorite thing to do. I would rather do it in the evening. We have inferior conjunction on the 11th of April, and that's when we go. That's when Mercury passes in front of the sun from us, but it goes from an evening to a morning object. We have aphelion at the end of the month, so it's farther away from the sun, but it's in the morning, so I don't like it. Then we have Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Pluto on the 30th of April, shown here about a half an hour before sunrise. Now, Venus goes from Pisces to Aries and rises from not quite a half an hour before sunrise to not even 15 minutes before sunrise, and it's just too close to the sun. Saturn is in Aquarius and rises also at about half an hour before sunrise, but at the end of the month, it's rising 2 hours before sunrise, so Saturn could be good at the end of the month. Mars goes from Aquarius to Pisces also, and does something similar, rising an hour before sunrise to 2 hours before sunrise at the end of the month. Now, Pluto is in Capricornus. It rises 2.5 hours to 4 hours before sunrise by the end of the month. And at the end of the month, it's over 90 degrees. It's 98 degrees from the sun at sunrise. So I don't normally think of April as a Pluto month, observing month. But, you know, if you have a 10 or 12-inch telescope or larger, this 14.5 magnitude object could be yours, or with a camera. So then we have Uranus, Jupiter, and Neptune shown on the 1st, just about at sunset. I mean, the sun is really glowing there. Jupiter goes from Aries to Taurus and sets from 3 hours after sunset to an hour after sunset, so it's better at the beginning of the month. Uranus is in Aries also and sets the same, 3 hours after sunset to an hour after sunset, and so is also better at the beginning of the month. Neptune is in Pisces and sets 2 hours before sunset to basically sunset at the end of the month, so it is also better at the beginning of the month, but it's not that great. It's pretty close to the sun. And that is what's up in the night sky for April 2024. Remember, we don't charge money for this show, but we may tax your brain.